Strategy games aren't for everyone, but they're indispensable for those who love them. This list, Best Strategy Games You Shouldn't Miss, is for those who enjoy planning, facing the consequences of mistakes, and searching for the right move. These games prioritize thinking over speed and decision-making over reflexes. Ready? Let's begin.
Let's do it!
Marvel's Midnight Suns isn't the fast-paced superhero game one might expect. Firaxis has created a system that prioritizes thinking over action. Turn-based battles progress through card mechanics, and while this structure might feel distant at first, it quickly proves its logic. There is randomness, but it's not entirely uncontrollable. How you build your deck and the order in which you play cards directly affects the outcome. The battlefields are small, but not empty. Environmental interactions, character abilities, and the limited number of moves prevent you from playing without a plan. Correct decisions, not reflexes, are rewarded. The harsh penalty system of XCOM is absent here. The game is more accessible but still strategic. The Abbey sections outside of combat slow down the pace, that's clear, but character development and progression depend on these areas. Midnight Suns transforms the Marvel theme into a calmer, more calculated, and more serious strategy experience than expected. When you start Baldur's Gate 3, the game doesn't constantly remind you what to do. Instead, it presents you with a situation and asks, how do you want to solve this? Systems that seem complex at first begin to make sense after a few hours. Turn-based combat requires patience, but in return, it offers a thoughtful, unhurried gameplay experience. Random moves are generally penalized. Planning, using the environment, and knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the characters are important. The story doesn't flow in a straight line. Missions are often not limited to a single solution, and the decisions you make can lead to unexpected consequences later on. There are moments when you think, I wish I hadn't done that, but the game prefers to let you experience it rather than undoing it. This makes the experience more authentic. The relationships you form with the characters are not superficial. They change over time, sometimes becoming more difficult, sometimes completely breaking down. The game's pace may not appeal to everyone. Long dialogues, abundant text, and detailed rules can be tiring. But once you enter this structure, Baldur's Gate 3 feels like a game that progresses alongside you rather than one that directs you. It's an experience that deserves to be taken seriously, and it amply rewards patience. Age of Wonders 4 feels familiar to those acquainted with classic 4X strategy games, but it also clearly defines its own niche. Instead of choosing a pre-selected race at the start, creating your own people determines the gameplay from the very first minute. These choices aren't just theoretical, they're reflected in everything from combat style to diplomacy. The map progresses in a turn-based manner, and the pace is generally calm. It doesn't rush you, but it doesn't feel empty either. Exploration, city building, and resource management are balanced. Battles are played in a separate screen, also in a turn-based manner, and although there's an auto-settling option, taking control is often more sensible. Positioning and spell timing truly change the outcome. Diplomacy isn't complicated, but it works. It's not possible to befriend everyone, nor is it necessary to constantly wage war. Age of Wonders 4 is a strategy game that offers depth without being overwhelming with micromanagement, and is enjoyable when played patiently. Unicorn Overlord isn't a game that demands immediate speed when you first start playing. It requires a bit of patience, but that patience isn't wasted. As you progress through the map, what truly matters isn't your reflexes, but what you plan beforehand. Battles are automatic, but the outcome is determined by the units you assemble before the conflict begins. Who leads the charge and who provides support truly makes a difference. Instead of focusing on a single character, the game emphasizes team building. When you ask, why did this unit fall apart? The answer is usually clear: lack of cohesion. It allows for experimentation, and instead of punishing you for your mistakes, it prefers to teach you. This makes the learning process more natural. The story unfolds quietly. Instead of grand dramatic moments, there are political conflicts and power struggles. The visual style is initially striking, but it normalizes after a while. What remains is a calm, orderly, and thoughtful strategy experience. Company of Heroes 3 is a real-time strategy game built around map control and troop positioning. Resources are earned by securing points on the map, and holding these points becomes more important than building armies. Troops are vulnerable in open areas. Cover, buildings, and terrain use form the basis of the game. Infantry, vehicles, and support units are designed to complement each other. It's impossible to progress with only one type of unit. Vehicles are powerful but unprotected. Infantry is agile but fragile. Therefore, using units together is essential. A vehicle left in the wrong place or unsupported infantry is lost very quickly. The game encourages micromanagement but doesn't overcomplicate things. Troop abilities are limited and situation dependent. Company of Heroes 3 offers an RTS experience where placing the right unit in the right place at the right time pays off, and mistakes are quickly revealed. Tactics Ogre Reborn features entirely turn-based gameplay on a grid-based grid. Each battle unfolds like a small tactical problem, where you place your units, the direction you attack, and the difference in elevation directly affect the outcome. Level alone isn't enough. A character positioned in the wrong place can be eliminated very quickly. The class system is central to the game. The ability to switch characters between classes provides freedom, but unplanned play disrupts the balance. Coordination between frontline, ranged, and support units is essential. Pre-battle formation and equipment selection are as important as the battle itself. With the Reborn version, the interface is more readable and information is conveyed more clearly. Randomness has been reduced and outcomes have become more predictable. The game doesn't progress quickly, but it demands that you know what you're doing every turn. Tactics Ogre Reborn is a tactically strong game that emphasizes patience, attention to detail, and planning. The last spell establishes a clear, turn-based tactical gameplay cycle. The game consists of two phases: preparation during the day and defense at night. During the day, you rebuild the ruined city, construct buildings, place defensive structures, and develop your characters. When night falls, you try to survive against waves of enemies coming from all directions on the map. Battles take place on grid-like areas and are entirely turn-based. Positioning is crucial here because the number of enemies is high and the area is limited. The weapon each character uses significantly changes their gameplay. Archer, mage, or melee fighter means not only damage but also area control. It's often impossible to recover a character who is in the wrong place. Losing is normal, given its roguelike nature. The game doesn't hide this. With permanent upgrades unlocked with each attempt, you proceed more strategically in the next turn. It's not fast-paced but intense. A tactical game that doesn't forgive mistakes, rewards preparation, and is entirely based on gameplay. Metal Slug Tactics takes the series' familiar run-and-shoot chaos and replaces it with a completely turn-based system. The game progresses through grid-like areas, and what you can do in each turn is clearly limited. You need to strike the right balance between movement, attack, and special abilities. Not being able to do everything in one turn makes positioning and sequencing crucial. Movement is central to the gameplay. Dealing damage isn't enough. Where you stay after hitting directly affects the next turn. A move that ends in the wrong place allows the enemy to easily punish you. Characters and weapons offer different playstyles. Some focus on area control, while others concentrate on a single objective. These differences are clearly felt on the battlefield. Thanks to its roguelite structure, each mission doesn't progress the same way. Temporary power-ups, unlocked abilities, and combos constantly change the gameplay. This allows the game to maintain continuity. Aliens: Dark Descent is a real-time, tactically intensive game where you manage a team rather than individual soldiers. Maps are closed and generally consist of narrow areas. Therefore, the speed of movement, line of sight, and team positioning constantly require attention. The game doesn't want to throw you into direct combat. The goal is often to advance silently, avoid risky areas, or establish safe zones. Commands are given instantly, but not everything happens quickly. Decisions like advance, stop, establish defense, place turrets, and retreat are constantly being made. Since ammunition, abilities, and healing resources are limited, every engagement is entered into with careful calculation. As it drags on, the team's stress increases, leading to more mistakes. Retreating and abandoning the mission halfway is sometimes the most logical option. The game centers on area control, sealing doors with resources, closing passages, and drawing the enemy to specific points are crucial. A team caught in the wrong place can quickly disintegrate. Aliens: Dark Descent offers a tactical experience that rewards controlled progress rather than quick victories, and waiting for the right moment rather than taking risks. Jagged Alliance 3 is a completely turn-based tactical game where you manage a small team step by step. Battles take place in enclosed areas or on small maps, and every move has consequences. Viewing angle, cover usage, and distance calculation are crucial. Where you leave your character at the end of a turn is just as important as shooting at the enemy. Each mercenary plays differently. Some are snipers, some support, and some excel in melee combat. These differences aren't just statistical, they're truly felt on the battlefield. Weapons and equipment can be customized in detail. Bullet type, magazine capacity, and attachments directly alter gameplay. Since ammo and healing resources are limited, unplanned progress is penalized. Map progression is left to the player's discretion. When and where you enter a particular area determines the difficulty level. Jagged Alliance 3 is a game that doesn't offer quick fixes, but is satisfying when played thoughtfully, combining classic tactical approaches with modern systems.